Hello, good evening. It's just gone 7 p.m. here in the UK. It is Friday, the 18th of November. It'll soon be Christmas. Welcome to the show. It's episode 137, and welcome to everyone that's watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on catch-up. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever it is. I hope you've had a lovely day or are about to have one. We've got a fantastic guest for you today, and we'll introduce them to you in just a moment. Before we do, let's get all the boring stuff out of the way. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, hit the button underneath the video. That helps, apparently. And if you want to comment, if you're watching live, you can do that in the chat, which is over there, in the live YouTube chat. Or maybe it's kind of down there. Whatever. You know where it is. Go and leave us a comment in there. If you're watching on catch up, then of course you can stick your comments down below. We love to hear from you. Any suggestions, recommendations? If you love us, if you hate us, tell us. Otherwise we can't do anything about it. Please do, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. So if you're watching for the first time, maybe you've heard about the guest that we're having on today, then do hit that subscribe button and the bell, and you'll get little notifications whenever we go live, which is every Friday at 7 p.m. UK. And if you like what you see and you think others might do, then feel free to share our links around. Share the shows, share the channel. We don't care. Just get the name out there. That'd be fantastic. Thank you. If you want to keep in touch with us outside of the show, then of course we do have the Facebook group, which you can join. All you got to do is just hit the join button, answer a few questions to prove that you're real, that you're human. And that you can find us on Facebook at ProSynth Network. You can also find us over on Twitter, if Twitter's still alive. The way it's going down the pan, it might not be around for too long. So I think we might get a Mastodon. I think is the recommended one. People are saying now to get. We'll do something like that. Of course, Instagram page as well. And of course, if you're watching us here on YouTube, you know where to find us because you're already here. If you want to donate to the channel, we are super grateful. I don't want to bang on about it too much, but if you do, there's the link. It's underneath in the description as well. You can click on that and leave us as little or as much as you want to do. And also underneath the chat box in YouTube, there's the super stickers. Or underneath the video, if you're watching on catch-up, there's a thanks button. Either of those will work for you. If you want to leave us a few pennies, we are super grateful. It keeps us on the air, keeps all the licenses paid, and helps us bring this show to you every week. Finally, if you want to ask a question of us or our guest, then please stick a big capital Q in front of your question. Ben will then pick it out, drop it into a little bucket, and then we can work our way through those, as I'm sure you will have some questions. Oh, and one more thing. Finally, if you want merchandise, as modelled here by myself, you can have T-shirts, you can have hoodies, you can have polo shirts. I'm not sure if there's anything else, but just go to vipergraphics.co.uk, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the ProSynth Network section, and then you can order your garb, your gear from there, and it's all very lovely. And you can be like Andrew Brooks, who wears it out whenever he plays live, which is superb advertising for us. We should have bought him his sweatshirt for him, I think, but thank you for doing that, Andrew, especially last night in Derby. So there we go. I think that's all the formalities out the way. So let's bring in our co-hosts for the day. First, our illustrious leader, the bearded wonder that is the chief synth programmer, knob twiddler at Electromantics. It's Mr. Ben Simpson.
Hello.
How are you? Are you
all
well?
Right, yeah.
Let's give you a cheer, shall we? Let's give you a cheer.
Oh, nice one. Yeah.
There we go. How's your week been?
It's been very, very busy with work, unfortunately. I've not had time to do anything this week.
You got late home the other night, didn't you?
It's been 8 o'clock every night when I've got in, and you just don't feel like doing anything then, do you? So I've not been in here much. This is the first time it's been on in here for a while, and it's bitterly cold as usual, but it is I don't know, it's got me itching to do some music just coming in here tonight. It's like I realised that I hadn't downloaded a couple of soft synths. With some of the things that we've got on the show tonight has reminded me that I'd never got round to re-downloading them once I'd upgraded the computer. So I've been playing around on some of that, waiting for hook up for the show and that.
Yeah.
And that Martinic AX 73 It's the first time I've had it working on my main computer. It wouldn't work for some reason. There was some sort of configuration issue with my Mac Pro, and I never got it working. I thought, I'll try that again. Yeah. It's great.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's really funny you should say that, because there's a Martinic product that we're going to talk about later on, second half of the show. So cool stuff. Well, good to see you as always, sir. Welcome along. And now we go back down to the extraordinary, I think, is the only word you can use to describe this man. He is our resident synth tech and synth nerd, who is all hooded up like the kids into Hood.
Yeah, here to represent, you know.
Mr. Kent Spong, everyone.
Love it.
How are you, sir? That's it. Yeah, act your age. Come on.
Brass monkeys in here. It really is. Yeah. Honest to God,
have you got the CS80 on?
Yeah, it's not helped.
It's not helped. Blimey. I've actually got my fan on in here. That's how but then I've been running up and down the stairs, and I'm a fat git. So anyway, how are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah. You were doing that ETI, weren't you, today, the 3600?
Yeah, did the ETI. Well, for a little while, I opened it up and just went, oh, no.
Cried.
Yeah, and did some other machines. So,
okay. Anything interesting?
No, they're all bread and butter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
the usual fare.
Did you find the CS80 that has gone missing? Have you found it yet?
No.
Wow.
And we're not allowed to inquire.
Yeah, because you're the recipient.
Yeah. Yes. So the sender has to contact the shipping company in the country of origin.
Yeah.
And all we got was a email saying, "Oh, I'm sending a CS80 to you." We've emailed him back and say, "Well, we haven't got it, and we haven't heard any more." So.
Oh well, not your responsibility.
No, just that it's delivered.
Yeah, it does beg the question: how can you lose a CS80?
I was going to say, I thought that you meant you'd lost one around the house. You know what I'm saying?
I have done that. I have done that before. Yeah.
Dear, oh dear.
A carelessly placed coat.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's easily done.
I tried to sneak out with one last time I visited. It was very difficult.
Yeah, the bulge in your pocket gave it away. Really, didn't it?
That's why he has 4 dogs to guard all entrances and exits. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, good to see you, mate. Welcome along.
Thank you.
So let's get on to the main business of the day. We have a very special guest. This gentleman is responsible for a publishing company that has brought us some of the, I don't think anybody would disagree, some of the finest books on synthesizer and music technology that have ever been published. And they are incredibly awesome books. It's the one and only Mr. Kim Bjørn. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, yes, give a chair.
Awesome introduction.
Wow. Welcome to the show. Great to. Where do we find you this fine evening? Are you at home?
Yes, I am. I am in the northwestern coast of Denmark. So it's dark here.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Are you busy at the moment? Because obviously you've just released a new book, which we'll talk about in just a moment. How are things looking in the Bjooks world right now?
Well, it's always after releasing a book, we have all this other stuff, as you guys know, that needs to be done when you release something. Like advertising, marketing, emails, administrative work, all the boring stuff. So,
live streams with us.
Yeah, but obviously also a few other projects on the way. So there's always something to do, definitely.
Yes, yeah, excellent. Because we've had, of course, one of your employees, one of your comrades in arms, Mr. Mike Metley, who's obviously been on the show a number of times, and he's given us the lowdown on certain things. But it's nice actually now to talk to the head honcho. So before we do that, what I want to do is start off by asking you, what was your gateway into music technology? Where does Kim Bjørn come from before he got into doing the whole publishing thing musically?
That's a dangerous question, right? So, but I come from, where should I start? It depends on how long I go back. But I got the whole traditional, piano teaching when I was young.
Okay.
Instead of playing football, actually,
right,
or soccer. And that kind of turned me on to the whole music thing. And when I grew up, I played the piano. So then I started playing organ because that was more interesting, more sounds. Then I got a tape recorder, 4-track, got into that, did weird stuff. I have a stepbrother who got me into film music. And that was around the time when Star Wars came out, and you heard those records. And he explained to me about what was going on in the movies, when I heard the music. So I was imagining all these images when I heard music. So for me, images and music, the visual and the audible was quite early on connected for me. And somehow I was close to going into electronics after school actually. But I went into the design stuff instead actually. But I always played music, in my spare time.
Right.
And so, yeah, fast forward, here we are. If you want to hear something in between, it's like I played in the usual youth bands. I play my fair share of Beatles and Doors tracks or songs.
Yeah.
And had my fair share of gear on the way. My first own synth was actually a Casio CZ 5000.
Oh yes.
On which I composed a soundtrack for a movie actually.
Wow.
Which came out on VHS video at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So in
that's
terms
the
of
story, I guess.
Yeah. So in terms of gear, I mean, we were talking before we came on air about our gear histories and stuff. Tell us a little bit about yours, because I mean I've seen images of you using lots of modular stuff, and you held something up before, and we'll maybe have a look at later. So you're clearly into the modular side of things, and I think some of the titles of the books give that away as well. But what sort of gear are you into? What's your favorite? What was your first? That sort of thing.
Thanks. Yeah, it's interesting because I kind of went into hardware first because there wasn't anything but hardware at the time, really. And then I went into a software phase and then back to hardware.
Right.
And I actually made most music when I was into software, to be honest.
Okay.
But my first experience with the synth was the Roland JX3P, which I played, and the DX7, which I played in when I was young. And besides the Casio, I went into some Roland gear with the MT32 sound module that kind of opened up that whole sound universe for me also.
Yeah. And
together with MIDI sequencing like the MC500 Mark II.
Yeah.
And the TR505, I remember programming, what is it called? Corcovado, the bossa nova track on that one. And I had the Korg M1. I fairly fast got into the workstation somehow because as music was not my first thing after all, I needed something that I could just turn on and lay down like some tracks on the machine itself. But I remember early on drooling. So I actually got to the XP50 also at some point, which I enjoyed a lot. But I remember drooling over the Poly 800 and DV 6000, 8000 from Korg back in the day. And, that was, I mean, I'm from 69. So I'm kind of that generation that kind of grew up I got into the digital stuff mostly. So, and also that, as you guys know, that kind of music at that time, it was the new sounds, the new sounds were also like a symbol or like a signal for new times. I don't know how you say that, but it was like something new is going on and here are the sounds coming with it. So that was quite interesting. And so, just that effect that the DV 6000 had that helicopter sound, as the last patch or something, that was like, wow, this is cool. How did they do that? And so that whole that's how I got into all that stuff. I think exploring what can actually be done with these sounds.
Yeah.
Then I got into what did I get into? At some point I used a lot of software. I used Ableton Live and Omnisphere when it was Atmosphere. The early Native Instruments package with the modular stuff they had. What is it called? The Reactor and Absinthe, awesome synth. I mean, and I used that a lot for some of my, mostly all my ambient albums back from 2008-9 or so. And then I kind of got tired of that at some point and wanted to explore something else, and started dabbling into modular with buying some used stuff, and starting from there. And then, at some point, actually, when I was into software, I temporarily lost my, I got a concussion, and then I couldn't use my eyesight for a while, so I got some hardware. I got the MC303, the one without the faders. So that the tactile, sensation that got me into hardware again, also rediscovering hardware, so to speak.
Sure.
Yeah, and a lot of other stuff I have now.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you got into design, and I'm guessing you've taken design and your love of electronic music and the instruments that make it to come up with Bjooks. How did that all start for you?
Yeah, that was also actually kind of a long, it took a long time until I realized what I should do. Actually, first, because I played music and I was a lot into MIDI controllers also, I actually wanted to start with doing a website that kind of categorized MIDI controllers. And
right.
I remember the logo I did for it was the greatest thing, I think, but the idea was not that good. And then that was 7 years before actually Push Turn Move came out in 2017. So that was back in 2010, I guess. And then I started just collecting different kinds of controller layouts, like, the 16 grid, the 4x4 grid, the circular layouts, and all that stuff. And kind of assembled it from the visual side. And then at some point I was like, maybe there's something here, because I couldn't find anything about, why do instruments look the way they do,
Right.
And actually, when I was teaching visual design and interface design on the Danish School of Media and Design, and part of the job was actually to publish your research in papers, or actually in books. So that's how I actually published my first book when I was 23, I think.
Right.
So that's like 30 years ago, actually. Christ. Sorry. So I'm kind of I've kind of grown up with that, doing that. So documenting my curiosity, basically. And so, if you want the story of how Push Turn Move, the first book, started, I don't know if you want that, but
yes, please.
Yeah, I knew the guy. I actually had worked with a guy who did Jean-Michel Jarre's website, Klaus.
Okay.
He's a great guy. And at some point, I saw that Jarre was playing in Denmark. That was in 16, I think, or 15. I'm not sure. And I talked with Klaus, and he said, "Yeah, you can. Maybe I can get you like 15 minutes with Jean-Michel before the concert, And I said, "Oh, that would be awesome." And then he called me back and said, "Yeah, you have a deal. Next Wednesday, 15:30 or whatever." And I was like, "Oh shit, I don't have anything to show him. I just have this idea." So I kind of worked 24/7 for a week to do some layouts and for Push Turn Move about my idea, and also we had this idea of a Kickstarter campaign. And when I got these 15 minutes with Jarre, I was nervous as hell, as you can imagine. I was this guy nobody knew at that time, and it was really interesting. And he was my, I grew up with Oxygen 4 and all that, and magnetic fields, as a lot of us did.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit of I was out of my comfort zone, let's just say it like that. But he was so turned on to the idea. So that was, and once he was aboard, it was, the rest was history, as you say. That was really great. Yeah, here we are. Actually, that's that's it from Paris. Those two images. I did a presentation of Push Turn Move at IRCAM. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And on the right, I'll never do that again. But he signed like 25 books And I remember I had to ship those. First of all we had those sent to the hotel, and I had to package each of these in an envelope and get them to the DHL shop before they closed on Saturday, I think. I stayed there after hours. I think the people there, they spent 2 or 3 hours helping me with that stuff, because you had to fill out all these forms and that stuff. Just to send these very special Kickstarter versions of the book that Shah had signed and I had signed. But it's something you as you can hear, you never forget.
Yes, absolutely.
That was fun now. It's fun now.
Yeah, yes, indeed. But it got you, it got Bjooks on the map. And Push Turn Move was that an instant success? I mean, did that take off straight away? And did that surprise you?
It did. It kind of surprised me. Yeah, here it is, just to show people what it is if they don't know it. We had, I actually have, you can still see the old Kickstarter campaign. We had 1,430 Kickstarter backers, actually.
Wow.
And we got funded very soon, within 24 hours, I think.
Cool.
So, I mean, that's confirmation, right? That it's not a bad idea.
Exactly, yeah.
But, I was worried a bit, is it just my crazy idea of doing this or so it was really nice to get that confirmation from people and also the artists and the makers that had already been interviewed, because I think when we did the Kickstarter, I had already around 1/3 of the book done, maybe close to a half actually. But still, it's a long journey and self-doubt kicks in, and is it just a crazy idea? Is this, will anyone like it? All that stuff. But I always say, Dr. Mike can tell you that. He's my doctor on that also. He can tell you that I always doubt this stuff. But I think it's good to be skeptic about your own work, and to a certain degree at least. But so it was a success, definitely, and it still sells. It might be one of the books that people have a little bit of a harder time to understand, because it is about interface design in electronic instruments. It's not, it's not just about synthesizers, so it's not just about drum machines or whatever. But people kind of love it, and I've actually, the reason the Hydrosynth Explorer is here behind me is I got a message at some point from one of the guys behind the Hydrosynths who said, we were inspired by Push Turn Move when we did the Hydrosynth, and I was like, whoa, I'd never imagined we'd make this impact that we've done on the whole. Even your introduction, I was ready to just say, okay, that's it. I did what I wanted. I'm out. if that's the what people say of us, I can't be any more happy than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember when that came out. So was it 2017?
Yes,
that one came,
October 2017.
Yeah, because then it was. I think it was it the Synth Fest that year in the UK or the Synth Fest after that I think you were at, and I think that was the buzz was out, was this guy behind this amazing book is at this show, and everyone was talking about it. I mean, everyone was talking about the book, and I mean, obviously you've got a whole bunch of synth nerds in one room. A book about synthesizer design is right up their street. It's proper, fodder for them, and there was such a buzz about this, and then I think there was talk about the second book. What was the second book after this? The
second book was Patch and Tweak, the modular book. Synthfest was amazing. We had people, backers coming and picking up their copies of the book. That was just, and I remember signing book, and we have this image of one guy who opened the books and smells this newly printed thing. And it's just amazing that, it's hardware, right? It's like we love hardware, a lot of us. Yeah. And I think there's this physicality to the books, and this, it's a piece you can. It's and actually one of my favorite interviews in this book with Axel Hartmann, the guy who also recently did the Aodyo controls. He said this, that the cool thing about a hardware synth is that even when it's turned off, it reminds you that you can make music. Yeah, and it's a beautiful instrument to look at. Hopefully.
Yes.
So and I think it's the same with the books. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just, we have 7 titles now, so sorry, I'll just get this one.
They're not light, I'll tell you that. I know that for a fact. There's lots of them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
I have a question. quick question.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've got a couple here. Here we go, Mike. Let's get his one in there. So I mean, this is one of the finest books on synthesizers ever, I think, because it's that kind of, that collection of amazing, photographs, and Mike was telling us about, the trouble you go to get this stuff. What I want to know is why this square format. Was there a reason behind that format? I've got nothing. It's lovely, it's brilliant, but I just wondered why, because it's an unusual format.
It was, but actually, there's a very logical reason to it, and that's when I learned. I'm trained in design. I'm a trained designer. For several years, I studied design at the school, and then I taught. And one of the things we were taught was you can design a book from the outside in. Choose the format first, and then work with what you have, or you can work from the inside out. And I did it from the inside out. I said, okay, if I want to show, synths and synthesizers, let's face it, they are rectangular. Very few of them are like rectangular this way, like vertical. Yeah. So if I wanted to show them, it had to be something when you open the book, you have like more space, the landscape format. So basically that's how it came about. And they were actually supposed to be a little bit bigger, but I talked with the printers and we decided on this format to save the most paper and make it an economical choice also. But the format shows that it's a really good format, I think, also because you can have like 3 columns, 6 columns inside, 4 columns, 2 columns, and it all works with the typography we have inside. So that's, and now it's a trademark of ours, I guess. If I change the format, people would be furious.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the design of the books themselves is really good. Obviously, that's come from yourself, but as a designer myself, in a lesser way, working in the school, I do appreciate these design elements, and they're really nice looking books.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Ben. I mean, I was once I have this saying that it takes the same time to do it right as to do it wrong. Usually it takes a little bit of back thought before, but when you do it, it takes the same time. So I can't do anything that doesn't look. I probably can, but it will be harder for me to make it ugly than beautiful. I think so.
Comes across.
Yeah, we all love aesthetics. It's obviously it's also a personal thing, but I think that especially the people our readers, I mean, you guys are among them. I mean, we value things that look nice. Also, we invested some money in our instruments, whatever. And it's nice that they also work well and sounds well and look nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And whenever a synthesizer comes out, there's always a debate around its look. Even though it's a musical instrument designed to make sound, it has to look good and also be functionally, well designed. And I guess the book is just an extension of that, and therefore it appeals to those of us in this kind of arena where we do put a lot of value on the look and the practicality of use of such things. Yeah,
and also there were plenty of other books, like someone is mentioning Peter Forrest's books, for example. I mean, they're cool too, but to me they don't have an appeal like in terms of aesthetics. And I think it's also, we are so accustomed now to YouTube shows and cool lighting and backgrounds and all that stuff. So we also have a certain expectation, I think, these days.
Yeah. So what's your criteria when it comes to, photographing? Say, I think when Synth Gems came out, we spoke to Mike and he told us about the real hard work that goes into getting the best examples of the instruments and then photographing them in the best way. What's the bar for you?
It's hard to say a level, but it's high.
Yeah.
Again, there's no, I do believe there's no reason to do anything if you can't do it well. Then it's practice, but then I wouldn't publish it. So, and the whole purpose of this book was actually to do a book where we got as up close as we could to the synths, and also to really do them justice. Is that how you would put it? Maybe.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to be the best possible photos that we could get. And I can tell you that, and I'm not even really satisfied with some of them.
Yeah.
So, it's always like that when we do a book.
Yeah.
There's always something that's, this could have been done this way. But I mean, that's when you commit to a physical thing. Yes. But it is high, and this is also. We worked with the team in Philadelphia.
EMEAP.
EMEAP, and I think they got a little bit. I challenged them a bit. Let's put it that way. But Mike had talked about that. But also, I worked a week in Switzerland with Peter Ma, the excellent photographer. He did some photos at, if you know, greatsynthesizers.com, that the website.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked there. I really know how to dust off and clean vintage synths now, because that was what I did. And then we looked in the
Can you come around here?
It's expensive.
I have my little paintbrush that every now and again, especially when I'm on the phone, I'll put it on hands free and I'll be talking to people about work and dusting my synthesizers at the same time.
That's a great idea. Actually.
Yeah, well, it just passes the time, hopefully. So Synth Gems 1 was, that's. I think if there's any book of yours that I think if anybody's into electronic music and synthesizers, this is probably the gateway, because it is just this wonderful kind of sort of encyclopedia of great design and great sounding synthesizers. Obviously, we asked Mike when he was on about, because it has the 1 on the end, so that implies that there might be a 2. He was obviously very tight-lipped at the time. He said, we'd like to do
unusual.
it. Well, quite, yes, quite. Sorry, Mike. He hasn't got the right to reply here, so we're going to make the most of it. Will there be Synth Gems 2, maybe?
Yeah, I'll say likely. That's a politician's answer. I know that. But,
yeah, there's every chance.
Yeah. There's this to it also again that I have, we have so many ideas, and I have so much in the in the drawer, and it's also about finding the right time to do certain titles. There are definitely things in store in different areas. I think Synth Gems was interesting because we tried something new. It's more of a, as Mike also says, and I like to say that it's a kind of a gallery, like walking into an art gallery. And that's a little bit unusual for our titles, because the other ones like Patch and Tweak, etc., those are very hands-on also, with tips and tricks, and this is how you patch, this is what this is about. So I think that Inspire the Music, even the newest one, is also different. So we're trying out a little bit of different concepts right now, and I'm waiting for the day that we make a book that no one wants, but I don't think it will happen. I'm not sure.
This is the synthesizer community. As long as you have synths in it, people will want it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that might be the good thing. But there's lots of ideas around, and people also sometimes suggest stuff, and that's super nice. But I'd say we have ideas for the next 5 years, maybe 10 years even.
Excellent. Well, that's fantastic to hear. Now, you mentioned Inspire the Music, and here it is. This is 50 years of Roland history, which I have only started to go through, and I'm kind of picking the bits that that are really interesting, to me individually or personally on a personal level. But I will go. I have to for work. I have to go through this from cover to cover, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. But it is a very unique way of doing it. Obviously, this is a book about one company and their journey throughout synthesizer and music technology history. But the way that you put this together with interviews, with features, it's almost like a giant magazine in a way, a really very plush giant magazine, where you can pick this up and just flick to a chapter and just start, just read that, or you can go through an entire section, or read an interview. It's really a multi sort of faceted book. So my first question is, how did this actually come about with Roland? Because you've worked very closely, you and all the writers, because it isn't just you. It's your builders creating it, but obviously Mike's been involved. Alex Ball has stuff in here. The list. I'm just trying to find the list at the back of all the.
Colin Russell,
Peter Kern,
Adam Douglas,
some great
And
names.
Gordon
names
Reed was editing with Mike also. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, a whole plethora of people that are involved. Yeah, Gordon Reed, Mike, Peter, Adam, Alex Ball, Colin Russell, Diana Smethurst. I mean, the list of credits here at the back is enormous. So how did this come about? What was the inspiration for that book? Was it something you wanted to do, or was it something Roland wanted to do, or was it maybe both?
That's an interesting question because I always get it, but it's actually what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And so, the idea came about, it started in my head when I visited Roland back in 2018. After doing Patch and Tweak, I went to Japan for 3 weeks also, after doing a Europe kind of tour to the modular trade shows, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I met with Mr. Mickey, and I was shown the museum and shown different things at Roland and talked to some of the engineers. And there was I also visited Yamaha and did a talk there. And I did also a talk or workshop at Korg also.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, first my idea was to do a book about, Japanese synths or something like that. I was like, because the whole culture was like, it was the first time I was in Japan, and it was overwhelming, and really interesting. But then it kind of grew on me that these brands could need their own, book, and it's interesting what you say. There's this thing about you can go back and forth. It's almost like a magazine. It's also, it's about the company history but it's all and products and artists. But for me, it's also about music history, because there's so much where you have these, I don't know if you call them touchdowns in history, where Roland have been part of it, and it goes obviously for other brands too. But this is what makes this so interesting, that Roland has had this impact. So fast forward, I think it was the year after, maybe in 19, or no, maybe it must have been 20, just before COVID hit, I think, at NAMM. We met some of the guys from Roland, kind of coincident, but we had planned to do a pitch, and I had prepared a presentation of the idea, and those guys, one was Paul McCabe, one was Jerome Ravenswood from the Netherlands. They were very keen on the idea, and they loved it, so they brought it forward internally in the company.
Right.
Which was great, and then, but it took from there, it took those 2 years to complete the project, 2.5 years even.
Wow.
So that was a long stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we carry on talking, I just want to do some shout outs to people that have dropped donations during the show. David Ramirez, thank you ever so much, $20. Thank you. And also to Wagyu, who is a regular donator. Thank you, sir, for your 20 Swiss chuffs. Thank you for those. Even Mr. Mike Metley. Sorry, Dr. Mike Metley. He hates it when I do that, and that's why I do it. For the record, we funded Push Turn Move in an hour. I was with Kim in Copenhagen at the launch, and somewhere there's a video of us watching it happen. I'll have to look out for that. Yeah. That's pretty cool. But thank you for your donation, Mike. Do we have any questions in there, Ben?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, come on.
Yes. Native VS asks, how was it working with different photographers in different museums, collections, to create a coherent product?
Yeah, that must be difficult to kind of tie it all in and make it work the same.
The quick answer is interesting, but because it was, you'd see that the photos from EMIAP, they usually have a white background or grayish background, whereas we chose colored backgrounds for a lot of those photographed at SMEM and at the Synth Museum. In the other Synth Museum, we have that small, it's not really a small collection, but there was this guy at Martin. Let's see if I can find I have to find the name of the collection. Sorry, 2 seconds.
No, yeah,
it's Synthorama. Yeah. But it was the same photographer. These two places. We drove from one place in Switzerland to the other, and those are collections. Synthorama is a place you really want to visit if you get the chance, because everything, you just bring your own headphones. Everything is ready to play. And this guy has just an amazing collection, really pristine condition synths. So it was interesting. I did a lot of photoshopping also. You had some stuff is touched up because it was maybe too banged up in some places, but it's only a little just to keep it, not to, not to distract the viewer.
Yeah.
But also to keep it authentic still. So it was like a balance between, not just doing repainting a synth or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but also the backgrounds took some photoshopping once in a while to straighten things out, and especially the cover was interesting. Also, the photo on the cover, and there was a lot of work with that stuff. And actually, if you look in the book and you see page 270, or in the contents, you might see a little error in the left upper left corner of Photoshop error, and points to those who find other stuff. But there won't be many. But I mean those. Yeah, but it's actually in the content section. But for the synth, it's the techniques. It's one of Mike's favorites, the SXWSA1.
Yeah.
But that's a little thing. It's. But I say also, it really helped working with Peter, the photographer, because he was used to photographing synths, and he has a nice collection himself. And so we worked a lot about what details to do, and also we had Mike sometimes on FaceTime to check some stuff, what he wanted, and some of the stuff I spotted on the place. The UK synth, the Lord synthesizer Skywave, which is a British synth from 1978. I discovered that and I said, I haven't seen that one before. So we looked into it, and Mike even got in touch with the son of the father who designed it. That was interesting. So it was really like like Indiana Jones going treasure hunting. So.
Was there one synth for Synth Gems? I mean, I think I asked Mike this question. I can't remember his answer, to be fair. But was there one particular synth that you wanted in Synth Gems that you couldn't get hold of, or maybe you could, but it was in such a bad state?
I'm not sure actually. Recalling it, there was this one on the last spread of the book that we kind of couldn't get enough info on, and it just looks gorgeous. It's this there's a Cavagnolo, or I don't even remember the exact name, but it's on the last spread on the book. Cavagnolo Honor Prologue, numerical synthesis keyboard. It's like purplish. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mike is writing in the chat also.
I'm sure he'll.
Yeah.
But he was Cavagnolo.
He was. But one of the things he was nearly killing me for getting the Casios in there, but I just we had to get the VL tones in there.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, they were important. I think we discussed that with Mike at the time, that those VL tones, as cheap and crappy as they were the gateway for so many people. Like, I remember my friend getting a VL1, and we just sat there pretending to be Trio or whatever it was, making that sound, and we was like, wow. And it was kind of like a gateway drug.
MT60 was my introduction to keyboard playing, I think.
It's amazing how many people we speak to, and they say, one of my first keyboards was a Casio MT or a Yamaha PSR or something. I mean, one of mine was, I think, the Yamaha VSS. So these little cheap and rubbish little keyboards, but they're the gateway. And some of the design is incredible,
Yeah, some of the music that you produce on them's better than you did with all this.
Very true.
That's the thing. Size doesn't matter. Some would say they do. It does with the CS80 maybe. But my own personal collection is getting smaller and smaller. Each device is getting smaller and smaller. So it's not the ARP 2600, but the 2600M behind me, and the Hydrosynth Explorer, and everything's just. Because if I'm playing in the US while going to a trade show, I want to put it in my backpack. Yeah. And I think people are some people are scaling down. Also, I travel a lot, so I don't want to bring a lot of big stuff in general wherever I go. So.
Yeah. Any more questions in the chat, Ben?
Yes. Just let me peruse. Synth Addict asked if there are any funny, bizarre backstories on certain photo shoots for the books. Maybe some that almost didn't make it.
Let's see. I'm sitting here with the contents and looking through it. Some that almost didn't make it. Actually, at a certain point, the Poly 800s, they were so banged up from SMEM that I think they had 5, but only 1 worked. And we had this, we wanted to have light in them, that was one thing. And also, what more? I think we actually have photographs from some synths that are not in this book, but we have the photos for a later one.
Okay.
I think Mike might be able to chip in if some research were on the fence, because we wanted to do everything justice.
Yeah.
But let's see. The Fairlight was interesting because the screen didn't work on the one that was photographed, and so we got the screen images from another guy who was very helpful with that, and so that was cool. Because I wanted to.
I facilitated that. That was my friend Tim in LA that we got those for. Yeah.
Yeah. So so we try to do the best we can, and I think the purpose with this book was also not to have all the the usual suspects, but to actually show some of the stuff that people don't see as often. So yeah, that's one of the things.
Yeah, I mean it was great, for example, to see the Minimoogs A, B, C, and D, because everyone just goes to the D, But to see that kind of progression through, and of course, to read the history on it as well was superb.
Yeah, I was happy we could do that also. So.
Yeah. What else? Got anything else in there, Ben? Question-wise?
Ronald Wild has just popped up now saying, which was the most photogenic synthesizer?
What was the sexiest synth?
Oh, that's interesting. Obviously, the GX1 was, photos that we got from that one, but that was hard. Because that was photographed on. You won't believe it, but the background was different. There was a checkerboard floor, I think. But otherwise than that, the most photogenic actually. I mean, that must be up to the readers to decide.
Well, I suppose, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. But I'd say the Wasp and that whole the electronic Dreamtime EDP stuff is quite nice because it's black and yellow and on black background. So I like that a lot. So.
Yeah. From a designer's perspective, what do you think is the best designed synth in terms of its physicality?
The boring answer, the one that works for you.
But that's a fair point, yeah.
Because to be honest, it's the hardest, the worst design is the design that is made for everybody. That's when it becomes bland and not interesting. Yeah. So there's some people that love the Hydrosynth behind me. Some people don't. Some people love the Minimoog. Some people don't. But obviously, actually, now we've just seen the Model D come out again. I think that design is so classic. Obviously, it kind of fostered the thing with the signal flow. And I think, to me, it's about does it make sense when you look at it in terms of what you can do with the instrument or the device. And obviously, it's hard because in synthesizer is not a natural instrument. A violin is, you have the strings, you can grab it, you can start making noise right away. But for a synth, if you need to menu dive or just push a button before you dial a knob or whatever, it becomes a bit different. It doesn't become as intuitive, and they are usually not intuitive by origin or so obviously it's about making it intuitive. But I mean, there's also something to the process. I think you guys know that and have tried that also, and all the listeners here, that when you learn a synth, I mean, that whole discovery process is super interesting. I think that's when we also open some new doors maybe to how to work with an instrument and to discover new aspects of designing sound and creating music. So I think there's if you, my also come back to that one device I showed you before this, before we started recording. I'm super interested in workflow. How we work with the device. What does the device how does it speak to you? As a musician. And I remember Larry Hurt, Mr. Fingers. He said in Push Turn Move that he worked with what was in front of him. That drum machine. He just worked with what he got, what he had, instead of saying, no, I want this one instead. And I think we are spoiled by choice today, and there's always something new that makes you, maybe this can do this thing for me in my music that this other thing probably can't, but it's about digging deep. I remember what Scott said when we did Pedal Crush in the forward. He said, just choose one pedal and use it for like a month or a year and get everything out of it. Get to the depth of it. That's such a satisfactory experience also.
Yeah.
And so now I'm getting started on a new book, I guess.
Any other questions there in the pot, Mr. Simpson?
Yeah, Jason Crouch has asked, with David Caulfield's Akai history book not getting off the ground via Kickstarter, might it be an opportunity for Kim to reach out to him and make it happen? That would be epic. Yeah.
Were you aware of that book? Or the
definitely, actually, I saw and I actually talked to David at Synthfest, and to be very honest and transparent, I actually said to him, if this doesn't get off the ground, why don't let's talk and see if I can help you out. I also, we have to recognize that we have a position now with Bjooks that people look to us, and if I also want to, how can you say it? Try to help out, if we can. It's not just about. What I learned with doing Synth Gems, we did Synth Gems Inspire the Music, and actually also the other books, that this is also us documenting music tech history in some way or another. Maybe not to the fullest extent, but at least we are giving it a shot. So I think if we can be of service, and if we can have a sustainable business while doing it, it's okay. And but we're still a small operation, but I have the best people around me, Dr. Mike and Diana and all these guys that helped out writing Inspire the Music. It also shows, because I know that some people ask about how do we get this into this depth and this quality in the writing and all that. Obviously Mike is one of the keys to that, having a good editing team. Gordon Reed, having him on board, fact checking stuff, and all the other people who helped out was really key to this. I think something about Akai could be interesting, but it's also about finding the right way of doing it. There's probably also a reason why the Kickstarter didn't happen. I don't know. There could be many reasons, but it's something that I think. I had the S1000 sampler back in the days and the AX 7383 keyboard or something like that.
Yeah.
So I have a history with Akai also, and I guess most of us have. There are all these brands. You can always go back, and it also struck me when I was at SynthPlex in LA recently, and Tom Oppenheim was there also, and Marcus Ryle, and seeing that whole vintage synth room and seeing the Oppenheim synths, and we are at a time in music tech history where it's been like a lot of years, a lot of decades now that some of these people have been going with this stuff, and I would not like to see this fade into the background, or fade into kind of clone instruments from other manufacturers, whatever. We need to pay honor and to the heritage of, how you say that, I think we need to set things right, and books are a way to do that, I guess, if they are well researched, and if they are done well, and that's what we try to do without saying too much.
Would you ever consider doing a book on one instrument, just one instrument?
Definitely. Like I would also consider doing maybe a book on one artist. Okay. There's plenty of things to do still, and I think there's plenty of directions for us to explore in that sense. Because for all these, like I still have Patch and Tweak, but I also have like Patch and Tweak with Moog. Actually, was the first like step in that direction of zooming in on a particular set of instruments. And that idea I got while we did Patch and Tweak, because I thought many people start their modular journey with a semi-modular. So why not try to focus in on that and give people something to expand from later on? And that could be the case in many other areas too, and zooming even more down on instruments or brands or whatever, or artists. But if people want a sneak peek of what's up for Bjooks, I don't know if you want that.
Yeah.
I can say that. Yeah, I can say that one thing that I'm working very seriously on is augmenting the books with digital content, and also making it very hands-on. Like you have your mobile phone on you most of the time. There's lots of opportunities to add video, sounds, translation, further content. By doing something there, and connecting it very closely to the physical books. So that's one of the things that I'm very keen on us doing.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that one.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
There was a question that I just saw there. Will there be any books not on electronic music? Will Bjooks branch out beyond synthesizers and music technology?
That could be. It could be. Yeah. Let's say likely. There's no specific plans, but I have some ideas I've been thinking of. But it also, if you walk into a music store today that has electronic instruments, you'll likely find our books too. And that's where we are. If we do a book on, let's say, the violin, or string instruments, it would probably be more like very narrow area of stores that would carry such a book. And it would also be, the bookstores, it would more be in their area, I think. And that's a whole, there's all this, running an operation like this there's so many facets to it. If I knew this when I was starting out, I don't know if I would have continued, but well, here we are. So I think it's interesting because, again, but I mean, you see some books about guitars and whatever that are really well done also, and you see other people doing books on keyboards, organs, also a bit electronic, I guess. So, but it could be interesting. It's not that electronic is like a keyword for us. For me, it's about is there something here to kind of uncover? Are there stories to tell? Are there interesting artists to talk about and talk with? Do they have some inspiration they can pass on? But we did a April Fool's Day joke once with the kazoo on the cover. I think it was called Blow Bend Trill. I'll never do such a thing again. It was bad idea.
We did one, didn't we? That's it. We announced that Behringer had bought the rights to the Pro Synth Network show, and we actually had people calling us up very angry.
Oh wow, yeah. You never know. I mean, there was also this polyphonic theremin. Did you see that from Moog once?
Yes, yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. When they're done well, they're very good. Thanks to Andy, Synth Addict. Congrats to Bjooks for selling so well at SynthPlex. Went to the booth too late to complete my book collection gap. So, if you want to buy the books, of course.
I'd say we have some stuff coming up. If you follow us on Instagram, there'll be actually some very limited sales coming up in the next few weeks.
There you go.
I'd stay tuned there if I were you.
Bjooks on Instagram. Let's also I just lost my screen here because I was going to throw. Where is it? Here we are. I've lost the page. There we go.
I realize I talk too much.
No.
That's great. That's what
no. It saves us the job. So if you want to buy Bjooks books, then, or you want to find out more about them, then the site is simply bjooks.com, bjooks.com, and they're all listed there, and you can find resellers. There's a blog there, there's audio stuff, there's frequently asked questions, all sorts of stuff, and there are all the books there in all of their glory. And we love them a lot. They're fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Was there any other... Oh, Ron Wild, thank you very much for your donation. Very interesting. Thank you for the great weekly show. You're more than welcome, Ronald. So, was there any other questions?
Yes, there's a couple. But there's one from Paul Artola who asked, besides the obvious synth clusters, what was your favourite, funniest thing to see at EMEAP?
Well, actually, I didn't go personally to EMEA. I was close by this year, but I didn't go there. So, so I don't know what would be the funniest thing to see. But I mean, they have so many amazing instruments from Frank Zappa and I mean Keith Emerson, and so I think it would even be hard to choose if you went there.
Yeah,
they have a splendid website where you can see some stuff. So I think they have an Instagram also with quite some images. And we have some photos of the collection in Synth Gems also.
Nice. And there was one more question in the pot from a Ben Simpson. Don't you?
This weirdo Ben Simpson said, "How did you manage to get Vince Clarke to do the foreword for Synth Gems 1? And would a dedicated Vince Clarke Bjook be a possibility?"
First, Mr. Simpson, thanks for saying Vince Clarke Bjook. I mean, that's so cool that it's become like a term to use instead of book. I love that. How did I manage to get Vince Clarke? Actually, that was from back when I think when I talked to, was that Hans Zimmer for Patent Tweak with Moog? The agency. Was that Mute? It's not Mute Records, but his representation. I had some contact there already, and so it was quite easy to just get in contact with them and say, you know what we do. You've seen our books. Could we get in touch with Vince? And he said yes, kind of right away, within an hour. I think that was pretty crazy. So. But I think now we have a reputation where I usually say, our books. I don't have any business cards. I just send a book. So that's the easiest because people can see what it is. You have to pick up a book and feel it and knock on it and kind of see what it is. And I remember when I interviewed or talked to Vince, he was on vacation in Vegas, I think, or somewhere over there, or in the mid US. It was quite a funny conversation we had. I think I really enjoyed it. But there's some great videos with him also on YouTube where he's showing around in his studio. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a Vince Clarke book. It's difficult to say. We haven't talked about anything. It's but he has an amazing collection of synths. That's
Again, he's probably sold more than we've owned.
That's a good way of putting it. And I mean, the songs he's done and the music he's done. I love his story about the one synth they have. Was that the one they had the Cobalt RSF Cobalt, because it had 8 preset slots, so it fit right into the Depeche Mode early sets where they had 8 songs in their set, so he could have a sound for each song. That was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, as I said before, if you want to find out more about Bjooks and all of their publications, the Patch and Tweak series, Push Turn Move, Pedal Crush, for that, what, guitars? I think they're guitars.
Pedal Crush is, no, it's not for guitars. It's not for guitars. I'd say it. There are guitars. Steve Vai wrote the foreword and all that, but I wanted to do that book because I wanted to get an overview of this whole effects pedal, thing. And also because when we did Patch and Tweak, I discovered a lot of modular users using pedals, almost like a modular, right? You can put, whatever effects chain you want to do, and so this is very much for people who are not into guitars already. I worked with the guy Scott Harper from Knobs, who did these wonderful demos on YouTube, small animations and stuff. So it's really an overview of effects also. What is a reverb actually? A series of delays, basically, stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. Excellent stuff. Dina Perlman in the chat was just asking if we hadn't if we haven't already asked you, which I think we did. Is there any hint as what maybe the next Bjooks will be?
Not really, to be honest, but I can say so much that we'll likely have something out in between March and May, and we'll also have something out in late in the year. I think hopefully we'll have at least 2 publications next year.
Nice.
But it really depends also, I have to make sure that Dr. Mike is in good shape, and keep him on his toes, and we needed a break after the Roland book. We surely did. That was a massive project, and a new way for us to work also with so many people.
Yes.
And I also want to get a little bit back to our roots, with Pedal Crush and Patchy Tweak and Push and Move, which was us doing a Kickstarter and also us doing something where I had, a specific idea of something. I had this with the other ones too, but it was very much, how can you say? It was more in a broad sense. And so, I really can't say anything about these books yet, though I really want to.
Thank you, Jason Crouch, for your donation. Thanks for getting Kim on. My Christmas list grows. I think, yes. One of these should be on every synthesizer fan's Christmas list. Kim, it's been absolutely fascinating to talk to you, to see you again, and hopefully our paths will cross again sometime soon.
Definitely. It's been a
guys,
pleasure.
Guys, have you got anything else you want to throw at Kim before we say goodbye?
Just to thank him for the great job on the books. I think I'll be getting the full collection myself. I didn't realise that you were the designer behind it all, and it's your kind of vision, and I just think that's great, and I'm on board. I'm in.
Thanks, Ben.
Do you think you'll ever do a one on synthesizer maintenance?
Oh.
Yeah.
Could call it Open Fire Run.
Something
like that. 999.
The inside.
999.
On my version, Open and Break. That's it.
And pray for the.
You can have those titles for free. You can have them on us.
Yeah.
Kim, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. Obviously, you're an hour ahead of us there. Really appreciate it, and do come back on soon when you've got other stuff to talk about, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Kim. Take care, and see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. There we go. Kim Bjørn, everyone.
Hey.
How about that?
Top guy.
Yep. Brilliant stuff. I just love getting all of these. Last week we had Marcus Ryle on. This week we had Kim Bjørn. Different aspects of this industry that's just so wide and varied. And Kim, and of course, his team, which include Mike and others besides, do some fantastic stuff. And I'll tell you, Synth Gems is great. This is just fantastic. I forgot to ask him whether there are any plans to do Inspire the Music Yamaha or Inspire the Music Korg.
I reckon so.
Or Inspire the Music Moog or Oberheim or Sequential. Those would be amazing books. But this thing is just every time I pick it up, it's just heavy. It's fantastic. Let me just put those down there before I damage them. Oh, gents, right. So that's that. Links to Kim's stuff will be in the description below, or to the whole Bjooks catalogue. And if you have any questions post chat, then do let us know. We can pass those forward and try and get those answered for you. But should we do some news? We should. This is where I think we should have like Rans does, these little stingers. We should. Maybe I'll do something. Yeah. News. Yeah.
We should be all right for the laser shots and stuff like that between us. We should be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
And now from Norwich.
Live from Norwich. Right, let's see. What have we got? Oh, hang on. I've just locked my screen up again. That's a stupid thing to do. Right. Okay, let me just check I've got to check my phone because my mother-in-law got taken into hospital this afternoon. Nothing too serious. They're just checking her over. No, that's good. So no news is good news. Thank you again, Mr. Mike Metley. He hates it when I do that. So proud that we were able to include Don Lewis, of course, the man who inspired MIDI and inspired the music. Yes, that's fantastic. I was actually talking to Ned, the director of the Don Lewis documentary movie, and when we spoke to Marcus last week, he said that Don, the Wednesday before he passed, still jumped on their kind of old gits call that they have, but like the day that Don passed, Ned spent 4 hours with him, and he was telling stories that Ned had never heard before, and Ned has spent the last decade or so documenting his history. Just incredible. What an incredible man. Speaking of which, I've been speaking with Ned because we always wanted to get Don on the show, but circumstances just wouldn't allow. But we are working on getting Ned on the show and somebody else, and it will be a Don Lewis focused thing. So it's in the works. We'll bring that to you soon, we hope. Right, news. What should we? Oh well, we're spoilt for choice today.
I know. Yeah.
I think we've got to kick off with the obvious stuff. So let's do that. Let me just throw this up on the screen. So this video came out the moment that the new Minimoog reissue launched. This is the Will Gregory Moog Ensemble. 10 Minimoogs and a percussionist playing a song called Archimedes Screw. And it's rather good. I'm not going to go because it's about a 10-minute long thing, I think. Yeah, no, it's 5 minutes long. But there's loads of different versions of the Moog model, Minimoog Model D, from the original right through to this brand new one. But of course, the news that came out of Asheville yesterday was, let me just stop that and we'll bring up the actual web page, was that the Minimoog Model D has been reissued for 2022. It is available now from most good retailers, and of course, let's just get past the wonderful animation to this horrible sideways scrolling website, which I always talk about. But there it is, in all of its glory, the Minimoog Model D reissued. It's got full MIDI capability. It's got a spring in its pitch bend wheel. Yay! But it is, it's the classic Minimoog. What else? What can you say about it? Retailing for in the UK around 5,300 and some odd pounds, which equates to around 6,000 euros. Excuse me, $6,000. I'm seeing it. I'm sure prices will fluctuate. It's a lot of money. I shan't be getting one. I don't know if they're being produced in limited numbers or not. I'm sure at that price they probably will be, whether they like it or not. But it's it's the classic, isn't it? Thoughts, guys, on this one?
I was jumping through hoops when I heard about it, but when I saw the price,
all of a sudden,
the power went out me, out me enthusiasm a little bit. When it was released last time, it wasn't this expensive, was it?
About 3.5, wasn't it?
Yeah. Why the price leap?
Good
I
question.
don't think
A lot of people asking. Yeah.
Yeah, I really want one, but I don't want one that much. I couldn't justify spending $6,000 on a mono synth. I just can't. Even though it is
the mono synth, isn't it?
Yeah, and it would be lovely to own one and keep it forever.
Yeah.
But
well,
I don't know.
think
it's too expensive.
Yeah, that's who I think are going to be buying it. Is going to be well-heeled collectors. Rather, I mean, I just can't see this being picked up and taken out on the road gigging, because a $6,000 instrument. This will sit in somebody's expensive collection, I think.
It's like pride of place stuff.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Mr. Spong?
Well, I like to see that they've adopted the KSR finish. Yeah, no, that's what fully restored KSR ones look like, and I will be contacting my lawyers in the morning.
Get in there.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Centre having a spring on the pitch wheel. Bad idea.
Why is that? Because I've heard a lot of people say that, and I've never played a Minimoog. I've touched them. I've looked at them.
Because the idea is not to use the pitch wheel like that. That's
right.
The idea. If you have one that can centre detent and you can flip it back real quick, it will sound different when you play it, won't it?
Yeah.
You're supposed to bring it back yourself. So, but that's horses, courses, and all that.
Yeah.
Why have they brought this out again? Need the money. This is reduce the value of my one. So it's another reason I'll be contacting my lawyers in the morning. Which isn't actually a bad thing, I suppose. They have been getting a bit silly in price. They're lovely. They're lovely. Yes, they're very, very expensive. But if you really, really want something, you pay for it, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you don't want it that much, then you don't.
Well, I think our friend Mr. Hilton last night nailed it when he said, how do you know when Moog Music needs some money?
They reissue the Mini,
yeah. Actually, there was a live stream. I was busy. I couldn't watch it all, but they did a live stream of one of these actually being built today, live from Asheville. The overhead camera, and there was some beardy guy putting the hinge, not the hinge, but the thing that's props up the panel in, and then I had to go on something else. But yeah, it's the archetypal synthesizer. It's an amazing instrument. Is it $6,000 worth? When obviously
with
lots
that
of people.
case, yeah. It would cost a lot of money to build that. That's pretty much how much it would cost to build it now.
Yes, yeah. Especially with component prices and everything, and
the general malaise of the entire planet.
Yeah.
Whereas when the last lot came out, 3.5 was just about what it would cost to build them then.
Yeah, very much.
So we're looking at inflation rather than greed.
Yeah. And it's not as if we don't have options. If whether you're making music on an iPad or a desktop computer, a laptop, we have options, lots of options. Even if you want hardware, there are hardware options. I've never played the Behringer Model D, except people tell me that it is very good.
But what Moog want to do is sell these cases empty.
Okay.
So that people can put their Behringer Model Ds in it.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
That's a realistic possibility, that I should imagine.
Yeah.
Doable.
Yeah. And
my number.
Tossily Music in the chat says, well, hang on, where is it? Wrong. Slip through that. There we go. Can't wait for the Moog with red keys.
The bass model.
The Minimoog bass.
Yeah.
Like it's never.
I think it already does that now.
I think it does. Yeah.
Pretty well.
It's a classic. I mean, it is a classic, but I think this one is out of most people's reach. But you can't really feel too angry. I mean, if there was no other way of getting the Minimoog sound, and then they come up with this, then I could understand it. But if you, like I say, if I want a Minimoog, I will either use their own app, which is very good, or there's the Arturia stuff that's out there. There's loads of options to get close to that sound. And as Mark Doty went to great pains to point out in a comment he left on the post on our group, this isn't the classic, because this has sprung pitch bend wheels, it has aftertouch, it has MIDI, it's got all this extra stuff that didn't make it a classic. That it's just a modernized version. And do we really want a modernized version? Well,
I take it it's still got the LFO mix to go from VCO3 to noise. I never did find out what the use of using noise in the modulation on a Minimoog was.
I imagine.
Because it just goes... I mean, yeah, great, turn it back, thank you.
If I had a spare $6,000 knocking around, I would buy one. But I don't, and I don't think many people do.
Put it in a glass case, pump the air out of it, and put it in front row.
Exactly. Yeah, because it is. I mean, we've just spoken to a designer. It is a beautiful thing.
It's iconic.
It's like, yeah, absolutely iconic.
It seems to look better with age to me. I remember when I first saw the Minimoog, I think it was with Mike Lindup, using one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, God, that's awful looking. Look at it. It looks like really old-fashioned.
It's funny when you watch
old...
old...
this dark wood.
Yeah.
That cat manure type colour that you see in the blondie 70s ones. Very late 79, 80, sort of like that. So they've obviously seen my website, thieving bastards.
It does look lovely in that dark colour. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
All good synthesizers come in Darkwood DX1. Yeah, but it does. Yeah, exactly. It works. No, it's a lovely, lovely thing. And if anybody buys one, good luck to you. It's an amazing thing, and I'm sure you'll be very happy together. But it's not for the average man about town. So there you go. That's Moog's Minimoog Model D reissue 2022. It's available now, somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 of your currency, whatever it might be. So go and have a look for that. But that wasn't the only new hardware synthesizer that was announced, not just this week, but on the same day. 1 hour later, much to my annoyance, because hitting deadlines and all this kind of stuff. Because from another great American synthesizer manufacturer, there has been a new synthesizer from the north of California, in the form of the Sequential Trigon-6.
The filter is really the heart and soul of any analog subtractive synthesizer. It's the one component of the voice that really distinguishes one synth from another. So that was the basis and the start of designing the Trigon-6. In the Prophet 6, we created a platform by which there is a what you see is what you hear user interface. There's no menu diving, everything is right there on the panel. Took that a step farther by making the OV6, giving you that character of the SEM filter. It just became kind of obvious the missing piece of the puzzle was the ladder filter, and it just rounds out that trio of instruments really well.
So there you go. It is the Trigon-6. It's available from Sequential, and it retails for around 3.5, I think, roughly, again, depending on your currencies. It's 3 VCOs, hence, I guess, the name Trigon. Although, when I was doing my research, Trigon is also the name of a character in, I think, the DC universe. I'm going to get absolutely crucified by the comic guys. I'm pretty sure it's DC. I don't think it's Marvel. It might be. I don't know. But it's a cartoon character, or a comic book character, should I say. But yeah, I mean... my first impression of this was why? Because it was just then look, the more I heard,
you know that famous meme. We got the two women pointing, and you got the cat sitting there at the dinner.
Yeah,
Yes. So it's like they're going Trigon like that, and the cat's going Trigon.
Yeah.
Because I saw that and I went, oh, Trigon. What's a Trigon?
It's one of them.
Yeah, oops, here we go.
Yeah.
So what? So it's what? It's 6-note poly.
6-note polyphonic.
Right.
3 VCOs, 3 discrete VCOs per voice.
Okay.
And it has this 2/4 pole 24 dB ladder filter. I think that's correct. I'm doing that from memory. So a lot of people have been comparing the structure of this to the Memory Moog.
Yeah.
You'll know more about that than me.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that it's a really nice alternative. Some people are saying that it's not really sort of like hitting any particular thing. I mean, you know, I don't. Again, now we're talking about wood here. This has got wood, and it looks that it's maple apparently.
It looks unfinished.
It looks unfinished. It looks like something that just came out of your sixth form woodworking shop.
Yeah.
I will be providing a service to get that done into Indian mahogany.
There you go.
And then waxed.
Mm.
Well, it's like a Prophet 5 with extra nuts on it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
And it's 49 key, which I know they've done 49 keys before. They've got form in that department.
Yeah.
Would it be too hard to do a 61?
I think it would have been considering it's 6-note poly. It should be 61.
Yeah.
If it was 4-note poly, you do. You know.
Mm.
I've got the Prophet 6, and that's always
a 49.
really annoyed me that it's only 4 octaves.
Really? Yeah.
There again, you know, we have controllers. I mean, it's not the end of the world, I suppose.
Mm.
And it helps cut down on the cost. It would probably be $4,000 if it was, you know, if it was 61 note or something.
Yeah.
Extra case and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last synth apparently that Dave was working on, had worked on before his untimely passing. So it has there's a kind of an emotional thing.
I'd have to hear
connected
more.
Yes.
I just want to see what is it bringing to the party amongst all the other machines that have been released recently.
Exactly.
In the you know, you've got plenty there to choose from. But what's this bringing?
It seems that the innovation in synthesizers and what they can do is happening in the much lower price brackets these days. You know, you think Mini Freaks, you think, you know, what Modal are doing, you know, Argon and Cobalt, with Korg, with Op6 Wave State and Mod Wave, you know, and they're all sort of £500 synths. Hydrasynth, I mean, you can get on board with the whole Hydrasynth experience for $399 for the Explorer, and it's not, you know, a huge amount, you know, big step to the 49 key Hydrasynth. And if you're going to have a 49 key synth, would you go for the Hydrasynth or would you go for this? And I think a lot of people would go for the Hydrasynth. But you know, it's sequential, and they have a cachet, and they have a following, and yeah, I'm sure people will go for it. But like you say, it was just like, it had me sort of wondering, who is this for? What's it for? What's different about this that will make me want to buy that over, say, another 6-voice like a Polybrute or something, you know, I don't know. I mean,
it's just it's that trio, isn't it? Now it's the American synth trio in 4-octave keyboards. So I think that's why they've done it. It's like the holy trinity of analog synths.
Good question from Ken here, by the way. What happened to the Take 5? I mean, it's still there, but we just don't hear about it.
I don't think that. I don't know of anybody who's got one. I don't hear anybody talking about them. Or
the only person I've known that's had one is Jamie. Actually, I think he bought one to do some patches. I don't know if he's still got it. I'd like to. Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's. Yeah,
because I mean, the way like the Pro 3 is primarily a mono synth.
Yeah.
And tries to lean towards being a polysynth as well, be it sort of almost in a paraphonic kind of way. That I get. What's this doing? Honestly, what is this one doing though? Apart from it goes, we're a bit like we're a memory Moog, except our keyboard isn't big enough.
Yeah.
And I don't know. One V per voice is all it's bringing to the party.
I always thought that when at first the Prophet 6 came out, and then they brought out the OB6, and I thought, well, what's the point of this? It is essentially the same synth. This is what I thought at the time, with an Oberheim filter, and it's a very, very different synth. You know, it same form factor, and most of I think all the controls are the same. It's just this filter section just brings this a whole new element of harmonic content and that to the synth and creates a different beast. So maybe this will have the same amount of impact, and people who have, you know, like they like the form factor of the Prophet 6 and of the OB6 and would add to it with this one. Maybe it does seem a little bit, I don't know, it's not tempting enough to make you rush out to the shops and get it, for me personally, and I suspect quite a few others as well, but I can see why they've done it. Whether it's successful or not, time will tell, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I got sent the specs through of this about 2 weeks ago and was looking through, and of course the first thing you see is sequential. I was like, oh, great, new sequential. And then you read the rest of it and you think, yeah, just felt a bit wishy-washy and almost like, I don't know, maybe this is like, maybe there was a plan for, you know, this trio of synths, you know, Prophet 6, OB6, and now this one, and now they've got it out of the system. I'd like them to do something new and different, because they've done the legacy stuff now. They've done the Prophet 5s. They've done the variations of those. They've got some really nice mono synths. Got some really nice poly synths. Now let's see Sequential do something different, because Moog are never going to do anything different. I don't think. They're always going to be right in that
legacy peddlers.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas Sequential have the you know the capability.
I mean, this was it Trigon.
The trigonometry. Yeah,
the Trigon. It does have this kind of sort of like sequential of going, look, got something new for you to eat, rather, you know, instead of just, you know, hard-boiled eggs. Oh, what is it? Scrambled egg. Oh, what's it made from? Well, eggs still.
Yeah,
it's slightly different.
Yeah, it's an extra VCO and an extra a different filter, really, and that's kind of it. Apologies, Chris Hughes. Yes, I said the Hydrosynth Explorer is $399. I was thinking something else. It is $499. So yeah, I'm not finding these. You might find one at $399 somewhere, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, sequential circuits. Sorry, sequential, not sequential circuits anymore. Sequential. Bad habits. Sequential. Trigon-6 is available for around 3,500 of your currency, whatever it might be. Interesting one, but kind of a meh. I think it's a meh kind of
stuff. 3.5 was like, how much?
Yeah. But this is where I'm saying now that the invention and imagination is coming from other synth manufacturers doing amazing things, and one of those is a French company, Anima or Anima, I don't know how they want to pronounce it, but they announced this week a polyphonic physical modeling synth. There is a video. Let me just see if I can get the right one. Oh, it's started already and I haven't shared it. Let me start this again, sorry, because it's only a short video. No, wrong one. Oh, I've lost it. I've completely lost it.
Oh, come on.
Hang on a sec. Can you hear the... You probably can't, can you? No.
Can't hear notes at the minute.
Something is I don't know, something has changed and all my videos are now automatically playing when I don't want them to do that. So what am I looking at? I'm looking for the polyphonic demo, which is this one. Here we go. Because it's a polyphonic synth. There we go. Impressive stuff. Thank you, Native. Yes, I'm making so many mistakes. It's Aodyo instruments, not Anima. Anima is actually the name of the, I guess it's the product line of the synthesizer.
Ooh, my God.
Yeah, it was. So that is the Anima Omega polyphonic physical modeling synth. They started a Kickstarter campaign. It got funded within 24 hours and then some. I mean, they met some pretty long stretch goals. Let's see where they're at the moment, because one of the stretch goals was polyphonic aftertouch that they were going to build in if they met that goal, and they did. And I believe Manny's pulled the trigger on one of these. Here is, excuse me, Windy Pops. Come on, do your thing. There we go. So this is the Kickstarter page. Yeah, £140,000. The goal was 69. They got 165 backers, and they've still got 25 days to go. Ty Unwin told us last night that he was the last person to get the 40% super early bird discount. So they've all gone. So 30% discount is the next one. So you get it for €840. Now, that's not bad for a polyphonic physical modeling synthesizer, which there are not many of. I think the last kind of great polyphonic modeling synthesizer, Z1. Was there anything in between that and this? I don't think. Certainly not exclusively physical modeling, and in polyphony. There's obviously been lots of software things. When I heard the sound of this, I was like, again, I was a little bit, because it sounded quite.
Yeah.
I want my physical modeling to be like physical modeling, and I guess I've been spoilt by like listening to the VP1, which we're going to talk about in a little while as well. But you know, when we had Manny and Scott and Reinhold on the show, and we had that amazing demonstration of the VP1, which is, of course, you know, a completely out there, balls out physical modeling synth. That's kind of what I want. And now I'm thinking, my expectations are probably way too high. However, thoughts on the Anima Omega?
I agree with you there in that with our demonstration of the VP1 with Manny and hearing what that could do, I was kind of expecting more a little bit from the sound. And where I like it in physical modeling is like the real instruments going into like a synthetic element, and I think they should have done more of that in the demos and got that across, because I think that's really where you get some mind-bending kind of sounds. You know, this is starting off like a cello and it's ending up like a harp odyssey, you know, and it just sounds like a digital synth in the demos. It just sounds like a D50 or something to me, and I'd like to see more. I love the idea. I think it's great. I think that physical modelling should come back into hardware, because I think it's got a lot more to offer than what we've seen.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether this is going to do it yet. I don't know.
Because when they did the first one, the Anima Phi, which is that little box, I was really impressed with that, and I'm still thinking, well, maybe if I can pick one of those up, that'd be quite nice, because it did make some really interesting physical modelled sounds that were distinctly physically modelled and not trying to be anything else. Whereas this, just to me, sounds like it. Like I say, it just sounds like a regular digital synth, and there's nothing screaming at me, "Come and get me," because I'm doing stuff that nobody else can do.
Yeah.
So, Kent, what do you reckon?
I think you could probably throw the Trigon in with this. Is that, you know, one sound not a synth it maketh.
Yes, we need to hear more, don't we?
You need to hear a lot more. I mean, with both of them, you know, to find out what they are really, really bringing to the table. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a physical modeler, and there was nothing really going on in that demo saying, "I'm a physical modeler. Look at me." It was like, I am a synthesizer making, you know, classically synthesizer sounds you can get on anything else in here. So, you know, open it up. This what what's it doing, boy? What's it made of?
Yeah.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there was this multi-timbral demo, which I'll just play for now, because it's now this is 4-part multi-timbral. So it's pushing physical modelling from being a fairly sort of monophonic, duophonic thing back into the realms of polyphony, which Yamaha and Korg dabbled in to varying degrees of success. This is now, I think it's 16-voice polyphonic and 4-part multi-timbral as well. So let's have a listen to this. See, that was more interesting.
That's better.
Yeah, it was a lot better, that one.
But still, yeah, I don't know. I think my expectations are too high. I think.
Well, when you consider how much is available, and how many times have we been wowed in the past? What's it really going to take to sort of like, bowl
are we
over
unwowable?
3 old crusty twats like us now, really? We've had M1 Universe smacked in our ears for the first time, like, and all this sort of thing. We've had the samplers like, oh my god, it can do that. We're getting old, mate.
Yeah. No, you're probably not wrong at all. No, it's interesting, and unfortunately, I'm in no financial position at the moment to get into this at this level, so I'm going to have to wait. And if I want one, I'll end up paying full whack for it. Yeah. But I still live in hope. I am still living in hope that Yamaha do something, but they probably won't. Ty's in the chat. He wants to have a say.
Yeah,
No,
I just noticed that.
No, sorry, mate.
No, go away. No.
Not happening. I'm sure he will.
This is a family show. Go away.
Yeah. Ty told us last night that he's ordered one and he's really excited about it, and that's great, because I'm sure he'll get a lot of use out of it. And I think we all. Yeah, I need to hear more. We need to get hands on with it. So, if anybody at Aodyo, if that's how you pronounce it, if they're watching, and you want to send us one, we'll have one of those. Mike's ordered one as well, and Wagyu, blimey, yeah.
It's when it gets into the customer's hands that you really see what they're capable of, isn't it? And
But
and that's
how encouraging is it? I mean, not least for them, that they get funded within 24 hours and then get to a number of their stretch goals, and it looks like, I reckon, within the 25 days it's got remaining, it'll probably hit all of those as well. So successful, absolutely successful. Well done to them. So hopefully we'll see more and hear more of that in the future. Right, what have we got? Let's just get rid of some clutter here. Well, we talked about the VP one. Oh, it's doing it again. Stop. Right. We talked about the VP one. Obviously, we were incredibly lucky to have Manny and Scott and Reinhold give us that 2 and something hours of VP1 talk and demonstrations and everything. Yamaha, I actually got in touch with Yamaha in America and in the UK, and I said, guys, you might want to see this. Have a look. And never heard anything back. Not a single thing. Which was, okay, they're a big company, and little old me just means nothing. But they have obviously got one. Well, we know they've got one of these things in Hamamatsu, Innovation Road. And speaking with Manny, I think they've also got one at Yamaha Europe, and I don't know whereabouts that is. I don't think it's at Milton Keynes. That's Yamaha UK, or Yamaha Kemble UK. Are they still known as Yamaha Kemble? Anyway, I'm wittering while I queue up the video. But Dom Sigalas, who is a real character, I met him at Gearfest, actually. Really nice guy, and does a lot of work for Yamaha and Steinberg as well. They're all one and the same these days. But he's done a video, or Yamaha Synths have done a video, and Dom is doing the demonstration of this. Let's have a quick look, listen to this, because it's wonderful. This is physical modelling for me. There you go, and it's about 12-minute long video where he goes through the VP1. Certainly not in as much detail as we were fortunate to do, but he played a whole bunch of other sounds from that, and it sounds incredible. I mean, it really does. And it's a big old... One thing, and I say no disrespect to Manny, because he was working with what he'd got. With this big wide camera shot, you can actually see how big this bloody thing is. It's not small. But yeah, did you guys get a chance to watch this? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was brilliant. I didn't think it, as you say, it didn't go into the depth that our video did with Manny, but he's great, Dom, and it is a great demo of it. And he shows that although the editing features that are available to you on the surface of the synth aren't that great, you can still get quite a lot of variation in sounds just using those few controls available to you. It's good. It's a good demo. I'd still recommend people go and watching ours if they like that and it give them a taste for it. If you want to see it in more detail, then check ours out. Do
you know what I did? I may be a little bit naughty, but I did actually post in the comments section under this video saying, great video, but check out the ProSynth Network. They've got a couple of great videos. I even put a link in it, and it's still there. They haven't deleted it. And we did actually get a comment on our video shortly after I posted that, so it clearly worked. The more VP1 stuff, just one. the more people we can get the VP1 in front of, if it generates a momentum, then I live in hope that before I go, there might be a VP1, whether it's come on Yamaha, do it in software. You don't even have to make the synth, just do it. Give us a VP1 plugin.
Yeah, they must be able to get that code out of that.
Yeah, there's a few around. I mean, it's got to be done. Yeah, ProSynth Network graffiti, that's it. Mr. Hilton, that's exactly what it is. Yes. But yeah, if you want to watch that, it's on the Yamaha Synths official YouTube channel, which is a really good channel if you're into Yamaha stuff. There's loads of great demonstrations, and then they do the synth space history thing. So they've had the one before this was the CP70, which was a gorgeous. I mean, they had a really nice, reface, VP or VL. They've also done. Dom did the DX1. Dom did the DX1. That's that. Sounds like a video, doesn't it? Dom did DX1. Timon says, let it go, Rob, it's never going to happen. Never say never. Never say never.
Software?
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, go and check it out. It's a great video.
Yamaha Cloud.
It's all about those details.
In it, yeah. Well, we
that GS1 downstairs, it's like the bottom end on it, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like really...
Absolutely. Right. Whoa. Sorry, just got a bit carried away there. So, one more bit of hardware. This is great. We've got loads of hardware to talk about. Just keep an eye on the time. Right. Okay. So, this was shown at SoundMit 22, which is in Torino, which is kind of my home city on my father's side. I do want to get over there. It happens every November, or has obviously didn't happen in the last couple of years for obvious reasons. But they do get some nice exclusives there, and this was on show. It is the new instrument from Kodamo, who gave us the Essence FM, which of course is another thing that we like. This is the MASK 1, a bit masking synthesizer. This is, they say, this is still in sort of development. This might not be the final design in terms of look. There might also be some changes in how it actually works. But bit masking, I am told, is where they're taking a sine wave and they're basically slicing it up. And then you rearrange and you move those to create other waveforms. So I haven't really sort of explored the ins and outs of that. But it does give you some pretty incredible sounds. Now, there is only one video that demonstrates the audio of this. And unfortunately, I don't want to risk playing it because our friends Ramsey played one of their previous videos back in March, I think it was, and it was actually another Kodamo synth. It was the Infini, and got copyright strike, or copyright claimed on it, and it all got a bit nasty. So I'm not even going to go there.
So screw them.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to do that to the channel. If you want to go and watch the video, it's there. We'll put a link to it maybe in the description. It's Les Sondiers is the name of it. It's a French YouTube synth channel, and they got a bit antsy. So I just don't want to go there. So you can go and check the audio out there. But it sounds incredibly digital, but it sounds really, really nice. Quite, again, what it can do that other things can't, not entirely sure about. It's going to retail, they reckon, for about 17 or 1800 euros. That price is still not definitive. But you can go to the Kodamo website now. It's the information is up there. Tells you what bit masking is. There's the video if you want to watch it there and listen to the demos. Apparently it's a very simple, straightforward interface. So just 2 rotary knobs and a bunch of buttons and a small display. That's all you get. Apparently that's all you need. But yeah, it's 10-note polyphonic, 4-part multi-timbral. 2-bit masks per voice, and then 1 sample and hold noise, 1 filter per voice, 2-pole state variable 12 dB per octave, self-resonant with pitch tracking, lots of envelopes, LFOs, arpeggiators, loopers and sequencers with up to 10,000 events, loads of effects. I mean, it's these guys gave us these guys gave us the Essence FM, which is a huge and very powerful digital synthesizers. These guys know what they're doing, hopefully. But yeah, there it is. That's the MASK 1. I don't know what's happened to the other one, the Infini, which was a combination apparently of FM wavetable, I think, or was virtual analog, and bit masking. That seems to have moved away. It wasn't on display, it was just this one. And they're hoping for a March 2023 release. So it'll be interesting to see what comes with that. But guys, any Noah, you tell us what you think of the MASK 1. Come on, Noah.
I like it. I like the look of it. It's not as nice as this Hydra synth I can see in front of me here, but I'm highly dubious of the interface. I can't see editing bit masks being that simple to edit on a 4-segment LED. He's good, isn't he?
He's very good.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, well done, Noah. Well done. Give him an
He said his piece. He's off.
He's off.
Yeah.
Done.
Think about where's my residuals?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant stuff. Come on. So, Ben, what do you reckon on this one?
I've got, funnily enough, my opinions are very similar to Noah's. I love the idea of bit masking. I think that's really good. I love the way that you take a sine wave and rearrange it so it creates a saw wave, and I'm sure that the way that they do that will give like great results. It won't sound like you'd expect it to sound, and the demos do sound really good. But I'd imagine bit masking to be quite complex, and I can't imagine that little display. It's got to be. It's got to be computer-based editing. It's got to be, because the Essence FM has got a really large, lovely display, hasn't it? And it relies heavily on that. And I can't see it working without software. I'd love to be proven wrong. Like if it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because that was my thought. And then the more I read, it seemed to imply that you couldn't make your own bit masked waveforms. The waveforms in there were all pre-made, and you just worked with what you've got. So basically, like any regular synthesizer, you've got a selection of waveforms, you use them, except the ones that you've got here are made using bit masking rather than the more traditional way of doing things. Because you're absolutely right. There's no way you can edit on a 4-digit or 3-digit LED screen.
No.
So it's either computer-based editing or it's not. So.
But it sounded good, it sounded interesting.
Yeah.
It's
a different way of doing things.
For. Yeah,
absolutely. You'll have to see. Again, another one we'll have to see. What do you reckon, Ken? Any thoughts on that?
I accept full responsibility. No, no, it's not. No, not for me.
To dig it all for you.
Yeah, and that's the correct response, isn't it? It's not really for me.
Not for you.
For me, really.
Well, we shall report back on that one as and when we get more information on it. But yeah, I mean, if the Essence is anything to go by, it's going to be interesting, because that was and is still a very powerful and interesting synthesizer. So, yes, right. What have we got next? Yes. So, with segue from hardware to software, let's do this, which originally started as a piece of hardware and is now available as a piece of software. And that is the Waldorf Streichfett has now been released as a plugin. Here it is. From Waldorf, it's available now. Normally retails at €99, but for a limited time only, in celebration, weirdly, of their 33rd anniversary, it's €33. So if you go to the Waldorf website, you can have a play with that. And I actually, I've got the demo. I had the demo out earlier on and was playing around with it, and it's. Let's get this up on the screen. There we go. There it is. I mean, it's essentially exactly the same as the hardware. Obviously, it's a very flat design. You just pick and move your dials instead of knobs, and there's no switches. It's just clickable buttons. So it's a one-to-one replica of the Streichfett, but in software. Do we need a string machine? I mean, it's a one-trick pony, isn't it? Is that contentious?
I didn't really get on with this unit anyway.
You got the hardware, haven't you?
Yeah, I got the hardware, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as having a real Logan 2. But that said, Have you ever tried lumping around a Selena? Jesus Christ on a stick.
This is
this is great.
true.
Yeah, and if you do, I mean, yeah, all right, the string synths, they are done to death. We've got them in all sorts of libraries, left, right, and centre.
Mm.
But this has got lots of controls, I suppose, and then you can.
Yeah, I like the way you can morph between the registrations. That's kind of nice, and it's got the solo thing on there, and of course you've got way more memory and stuff.
And at that price,
and that price, yeah, €33. I mean, you can go to Waldorf now and download a 30-day trial, and if you want it, it's €33, which, in the grand scheme of things, is not a huge amount if this is your bag. So yeah, I don't know. The string machines, I had a Godwin 849, which I think is the String Symphony, I think it was called. Had strings and some brassy stuff on there as well, and it wasn't working properly, and I couldn't fix it because when I opened it up, I mean, I think it would have even scared you. The average octave divider costs somewhere in the region between 70 and 120 quid. So this is wonderful. Move on. Yes, indeed, indeed. Yeah. And look, the Streichfett, when the Streichfett hardware came out, it was very well received by people who liked string machines. It was a very good thing. If that was the thing that you wanted.
Yeah, because it was getting very expensive to own one.
Yeah.
At that point, because the string machines were getting expensive again because they were suddenly in vogue again for some godforsaken reason. And of course, the price of all the parts went up anyway.
Yeah.
So this come along and everybody gone.
Yeah. Because you had one too,
sorry.
You had the hardware as well, but you've not got it anymore.
I did have the hardware, and a bit like Kent, really, it just never really. I do love that, string machine sound, and I wanted something that was going to be dedicated to that job, but it didn't really pan out. I found myself using, like, say, the Arturia stuff instead of this piece of hardware, and ended up getting rid of it. I wondered, because I haven't got the software version yet. I probably will get it at 30 quid, 33 quid. But I wondered how it compared to the Selena, say. Is it worth getting it if you've already got that?
Probably
I put
not.
that Streichfett through my 70s Stone Phaser, and that showed up how it's not quite the right sound, not quite there.
But it's not trying to be a Selena, though, is it? It's
just,
it's its own thing.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I would imagine, would get it because they're chasing that bloody sound in the first place.
Yes,
if you see what I mean. So, and it was just something about it wasn't quite there. And of course, all right. So you can have the software one, but I probably won't because I haven't got a decent 70s Stone Phaser plugin. So I'm going to be stuck with using my. Actually, personally, I find the Logan 2 better. But there you go. But again, they're heavy, great big bloody lumps. You've got to pull out of the cover, and it's like, really? Do I need to bother? So this is more convenience than anything else. So.
Indeed. Well, there you go. If you want to give it a try, it's waldorfmusic.com. Go to their website and find it. You can download the trial or buy it at the moment for €33, and it will go back up to 99 at some point. They didn't say when, they just said limited time.
What was going on with the logo? It's got a different logo at the beginning of that video, and there's a different logo on the software.
Oh, yeah? I don't know.
Sneaky logo change there.
The only thing that... Have I just clicked that? Sorry. The only thing that encourages me about this Streichfett plugin, and I'm just conscious of the time, I just want to say, but it's got a fully scalable user interface, which means you can just pull the corner and make it any size you want. I love their PPG 3V plugin because it really is very good, but it's an awful user interface, especially on a big screen because it's like this. And you can't scale it, you can't do anything with it. And even if they don't update anything else, if they just do a version of that with a scalable interface, I will be a happy man and I will shut up. Are you listening, Waldorf?
Yes, and I'd like you to bring Attack back as a proper plugin.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that.
Not just as an iOS thing.
Yeah. Another bit of software which I haven't had a chance to play around with, but we mentioned Martinic at the top of the show. They've got a new plugin that is kind of like it's connected to the AX 73. They've taken the chorus units out of the 73 and the 60 and put them into their own little plugin. That little box doesn't actually ever exist. It's just that they've made that interface themselves. But it's the AX Chorus is all in a single plugin for 30 quid, which is not bad. And there's a free trial of that one as well. Can't really comment any further because I haven't tried it, so I couldn't tell you what it's like. There is a demo, but I'm conscious of the time.
Probably a bit chorusy.
Yeah, it sounds like
I've tried it.
Yeah, go on then.
I've tried it. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that I hadn't downloaded me AX73, as I was saying earlier. So I downloaded that, had a load of fun with that, and then tried the chorus out, and I thought it sounded great.
Yeah.
I like the is it the 60, the AX60? That's a better chorus in my opinion than the 73. But I think it's only 30 quid, and it's well worth getting for 30 quid if you haven't already got like a plethora of choruses.
If you've got the AX73, that's got the chorus in it, so I know you can't feed other things through it, but I suppose a chorus is a chorus is a chorus, but I don't know.
It does sound nice. It's a really
I'll try the demo.
authentic sounding thing, and I love the graphics that they do though. I don't know who does the graphics, but they're really good, and it's like taking that skeuomorphic thing to the limit because it looks like a real physical thing there in front of you. But if you don't like that, you can switch to the more simpler editing screen, and they've covered all bases, and it's good software. They do a good job there.
Yeah, they do some good stuff. Martinic, well worth a look. So if you want those choruses, 30 quid. I've been speaking a lot to a guy this week, and he's going to be coming on the show. But before I tell you who that might be, he has just released a video for a product that I'm super, super, super excited about, and I'm even more so now that I've seen this video. So Chris Dodsworth, based here in the UK, he does like a lot of the tutorial videos, and he's done a whole bunch of patches for Sonicware, who gave us the Live and XFM, the Bass and Beats, and the 8-bit warps. And of course, their next product is going to be the SmplTrek, which was a Kickstarter campaign that got funded and was supposed to start shipping this week, but they found one more bug, so it's going to start shipping next week. However, his tutorial video, and if anyone knows these machines, it's him, has in the past, about an hour or so ago, gone live on YouTube. And let me just play you the first couple of bits of this, because good stuff.
Hi and welcome to this Sonicware SmplTrek tutorial video. This is a quick start guide. This will just serve to get you into the way the SmplTrek works. More advanced features will be covered in a future video. The Sonicware SmplTrek is a portable production sampler. It allows audio recording through its various inputs and the internal micro on the front. We can create samples with it, we can record audio and loops, and we can then sequence those using the internal sequencer. There's also effects built in, and we can use the device as an audio interface. So let's just...
That bit, sorry, I've got to say, I didn't realise that this could also be used as an audio interface. And I was like, oh, blimey, yeah, excellent stuff. I shan't go through this because it is like a 50-minute video, but it does take you through the basics. It then goes on to show you the screen and the hardware and all the different functionality that you've got in there and how to basically get into it. Really, it's a very thorough video. Chris does some great stuff, and Chris is coming on the show, and we're going to talk about this and other stuff that we can't currently talk about. But get excited, people, because there is some cool stuff coming. Did either of you go for the SmplTrek at all?
No, No, I was interested in it, and then I realised that I probably wouldn't use it as much as I wanted to. And I've got like other stuff, like iPads and things like that I don't use, so I should really start using them.
I just like the fact that this was kind of like, it was a sampler that you could just take out and about with a microphone, and it uses an audio interface, but it has this kind of Ableton-esque clips and scenes paradigm going on, and I've always been fascinated by that, but I've never got on with Ableton Live. I think I could probably get on with this, a bit of hardware, a lot easier. Small screen, I'll give it that, but I'm super excited, really excited, and hopefully it will turn up very soon.
I think it'll be a great piece of kit.
Yeah, and
Really
dare I say, this whole EMOM thing, where people turn up with some instruments and just play hardware. This has kind of got me thinking, oh, maybe that's my in. This is the thing. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Chris Dodsworth is coming on the show, and I'll tell you when he's coming on, because I've got it here in front of me. He's coming on December the 2nd. So hopefully these will have started shipping, maybe started arriving at some places. So we'll talk about all things Sonicware, SmplTrek, and other devices. There's some news coming soon. I can't say anything else, but look out for that. But yeah, and apparently Loopop's released a video as well today. So clearly, things are on the move. But yeah, Sonicware, SmplTrek video. If you go to Chris Lodi is the name of the channel, Chris Lodi. It should be there. I don't know whether that's Patreons only or not. But yeah, we'll post a link if we can underneath this video. Right, that was that. Black Friday. It's this coming Friday, isn't it? If we covered everything that was going to happen on Black Friday, we'd be here all bloody week. However, there was one or two things that caught my eye. This one in particular, I don't know how, but has anybody ever tried Black Rooster audio stuff? I think we've spoken about this stuff, or one or two things, but they've got a sale on at the moment. So they do a whole range of plugins, preamps, echoes, spring reverbs, all based on kind of classic hardware, which are not unreasonably priced anyway, but literally everything's been knocked down to about £25 per plugin for this Black Friday sale. But the thing that caught my eye was the all-in bundle. The whole lot can be had for 89 quid.
What?
Regular price is nearly 1900. If you were to buy them at full price individually, you can have the whole lot for 89 quid. That's a Black Friday deal.
Yeah,
That's me.
It's going to be Black Friday tonight for me, I think.
There you go.
Get that now.
I mean, it really is. I mean, you've got stuff that's based on tape echoes and all sorts of things in there. And I'm pretty sure we spoke about some Black Rooster audio stuff, and it was actually not bad. But for that price, I mean, you just can't go wrong. And they're donating 10% of the profits from their autumn sale to charity. There's three different charities that they're going to donate to. So
Brilliant.
Even better, everyone wins. But there was another one. There was another Black Friday sale, which I'm going to have to put up here. We will stick a link. There is actually already a link, I think, in the description below. I've got to do it, haven't I? CME, the wonderful people behind Widdy. Take a drink. 30% off everything in their store with the code WM30. So if you click on the link down below in the description, and you want to buy any of this, the whole store, 30% off if you use the code WM30 when you check out. And you'll get an additional secret offer on every order. It doesn't say what it is because it's secret. But yeah, so if you want Widdy Jacks, Widdy U-hosts, Widdy Buds, if you want the Widdy Through BT boxes, if you want the Widdy Core unit, maybe you're thinking about building your own Widdy stuff, you can buy that as well. And I believe they are still doing, worldwide shipping is included for the European, it's worldwide shipping is included, but you might get charged local import regular taxes. But yeah, buy as much as you like, all the way through to November 29th. So yeah, there you go, 30% off all your Widdy stuff. But there's loads more. There's absolutely loads more. I will get another plug in here. If you go to gearnews.com, fantastic website. There's a whole bunch of buyer's guides for Black Friday and loads of stuff in there as well. So go and take a look there. You eyeing anything for Black Friday?
I didn't have.
But you do now.
Yeah,
I think I'll be getting that complete collection thing. That looks great.
It's a bit of a no-brainer, really, isn't it, for that price?
Yeah,
Even if you've only used one of them.
Yeah.
There you go. That, gentlemen, is a show. And I'm going to have to kind of shut it down there because we have overshot. But I need to go and pick my daughter up from work. And I can't have my little girl waiting in the dark outside a petrol station, stroke supermarket, which is where she's working at the moment. So, but that was a very, very interesting show. Great guest.
Yeah.
Nice
really
juicy
good.
news topics. Nice to see some good old-fashioned hardware in there. So, what have we got lined up for the weekend? Are you gigging again, Ben?
I'm gigging at Nantwich Civic Hall tomorrow. It's already
Nantwich.
sold out, so there's no tickets.
bug.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's quite a good gig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. How about you, Kent? Anything interesting that you're burning down to the ground or face planting into?
Yeah, it's just work.
Just work. Just work.
Working.
Yeah.
More work.
I've got a family
Deck
get together
clearing.
tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
No, not really. I've got to drive all the way to Lincoln, like 2.5 hours.
Oh, you got to drive. What? You got?
I can't even drink. No, that's horrible.
Oh dear, this is getting worse and worse by the minute.
I know. Never mind. But we should have some cool stuff to talk about. I know there's some stuff coming out next week that will make for interesting topics. So fingers crossed. Yes. So thank you, gentlemen. Thanks also to Kim, our guest who was on earlier. Absolutely fantastic to talk to him. And of course, if you want to either buy some Bjooks or recommend them to people for Christmas gifts, Bjooks.com is the website. Again, the link will be below if it isn't already in the chat. And we will see you same time, same place next week when we will have... Who have we got next week? Oh, yes, of course. We've got Cherry Aodyo guys.
Oh.
Yeah, we've got Mitchell and Dan and possibly James, because they're releasing something on the 22nd, which is next Tuesday. And so they're going to come and tell us all about that as if we don't know what that is. Well, you may know. You may think you may know.
I don't think all is... It's too obvious, isn't it? I think there's going to be a twist in the tail.
There could be a little kink in that tail. Absolutely. But yeah, so join us next week to speak to Dan and Mitchell, because those two are always great value for money. And they said they're going to try and bring along James, one of their sound designers as well. So that'll be interesting. So that's next week. And then the week after, we've got Chris. We're going to be talking about all things Sonicware. And then we're kind of getting into the Christmas period, so we need to sort out what we're going to do there. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. Have a great weekend. To everyone that's in the chat, thank you ever so much for joining in, for your questions and for your input and your support. All those people, those wonderful people who donated as well. Did we miss anyone? I don't think we did. Did we? Yeah, James gave us a £5. Nice one.
Hey.
Yay. Jason, sorry. Oh, honestly, I need my glasses.
Yep.
That's a show. See you same time, same place next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. And look after yourselves. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.